I've had years of early on where literally pretty much all year I'd eat chicken, broccoli, brown rice. I'd go to family weddings and not eat.
I wanted to go to the Olympics, that was the plan, but obviously, at that time I wasn't prepared to make those sacrifices.
This is a good lesson for someone to learn. Like, I believe I jumped a bit too quick and I should have taken my time to develop as a player more, because you can be physically talented and skillfully talented, but mentally, if you're not there yet, you got to take time, especially when you're young.
This is a little hack for you guys. If you're trying to figure out how to do cardio without getting bored, just put a show on that you really enjoy, and I honestly think that you'll enjoy cardio a lot more.
Welcome to the locker room.
Yes, welcome.
Yep. Today's episode is actually on something related.
What's the episode, Bailey?
The episode is, what are we calling it? Athleticism, sports. We're going to talk about our background in
Health, fitness.
and fitness. And yeah, just unpack a bit and see where we go. It's kind of a core pillar, I guess, that we're kind of implementing into our lives. And we believe it should be a core pillar for everyone. We've seen a lot of improvements through fitness and stuff. So we're just going to unpack it and see what comes out of it. Share a few lessons and experiences and yeah.
Yeah, when we were coming up with podcasts and what to talk about in the different podcasts, we said health and fitness. Obviously, it's a no-brainer. It's such a big part of all three of our lives in one way or another, and we do cross over in ways as well. So
that's why I'm wearing this tight shirt for this episode only.
Sure.
But again, the theme
is that tight?
It is tight, yeah. It's actually
it is very tight.
Extra small.
Extra small. Extra small though.
And your shorts too.
But you guys just said I look big even though I'm
Bro,
cutting.
you're looking juicy. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
Your shorts look.
It's hard work, and we'll talk about it on today's episode, won't we?
Your
100%.
Your shorts look a bit tight.
Yeah, it's for the gains for the episode.
Anyway,
for the aesthetics.
Anyway,
I think we need some energy.
All right.
Let's start it off. So, I think, look, let's be honest. I'm unfortunately not the biggest here, although my brain sometimes tells me I am.
So to Bailey,
I think.
Yeah. What do you want to know, bro?
We'll just be honest, Chris. I think you're the biggest out of all of us. So
I don't know, guys.
why don't you talk?
Droplets of rain on me.
Why don't you tell the viewers how you started at the gym?
No, I'm actually getting droplets of rain on me.
That's right. I thought you were a bodybuilder. You can't handle a few drops of.
I might melt.
Rain. Anyways, how did you get started on fitness? Run us through your upbringing and how you got started into the gym.
So basically, my whole life, since I was a wee little lad, soccer was a big part of my life, which Jamie shares that with me. So something, I guess, kind of interesting about me, my first word was ball.
Is that referring to something else?
No. As much as you'd wish it was, it was.
I was getting G'd.
About a round sports ball.
Rubber?
I don't know. I
didn't
think I had the rubber vocab, but rubber ball.
Oh.
No, so it was ball because I was obsessed with soccer. I was obsessed with kicking a ball. I was since a young age. So from the day that I could play with a team, I was always playing. I was always in the top team at my age. Always Division 1 representative.
Who'd you play for?
So early on, my local was Wakehurst. So if you played for Wakehurst from the Northern Beaches,
It's where this guy belongs.
You
being a white boy in Sydney,
even though he's not from there.
He's not even from there.
Oh, originally, yeah, but
he's from the most woggy area in Sydney.
Yeah, cars, not the most.
Not really,
not the worst.
Not really, but
it's on the cusp,
on the up.
So anyway, basically, so that was, I guess, my first start to health and fitness through my soccer. I played quite well to a representative level. I think the best team I probably played for when I was in my peak, which was my younger years.
Back in the day,
honestly, you know those guys
getting old now, getting rusty, bro.
Back in the OG days.
There's always a guy in your group that like.
You're that guy.
I am that guy. No, we both are.
Nah, I was as well.
You both old.
Lives in his like heyday, like. I could have been I
could have
made it as a soccer player.
I once had a scout come to my game and he didn't even want to sign me, but
so that is how I actually got into reps, by the way. So
from a scout,
I had a scout come to my club game, and he came up to watched our game, then he came up to my dad and he said, because he found who my dad was, and he's like, it was like probably the only ethnic.
Was that man? No, that was Wakehurst.
That was Wakehurst, and
just for the viewers out there, Wakehurst, in New South Wales, in the state we live in, which is New South Wales, there's generally like 8 club divisions.
Yeah.
So that's the very lowest level. So it's like you register, you get into the A, B, C.
But I was in Div 1 over that.
So you can have like a top level of the 8 divisions, which
Yeah.
is Division 1. Then above that, there's 3 levels of state league, and then there's professional, which is
But
A
at
league.
my age, they didn't have that. So anyway, so I got scouted. They asked me to come trial for reps at Manly United. And I played for Manly for a couple of years, and that was, I guess, the peak. I did some soccer in New South Wales. Went to play in Malaysia, which was cool.
Mad.
So yeah, had a few different experiences. And look, soccer was my whole life. Anyone who knew me, anyone who's my friend, knew Chris would have a soccer ball with him at any time, any place. Like if we're going to a park, Chris would bring the ball. If I was at dinner, in between entrees and mains, I'd be juggling a ball outside. Like, and that goes back to the dedication we've talked about in terms of like being successful in things. For me to be good at soccer and to have got, I guess, to some form of success. I don't think I was ever successful, but I did well for my age. Is because I ate, I breathed, and I drank. All I thought about was soccer.
Obsession.
Obsessed. I used to have dreams about soccer. I used to have all the jerseys. I used to, play in the morning before school. I'd go to a training. I'd go to soccer for school, and then after school as well, every single day. And that's what I guess the difference was from me and other people who didn't do as well. They didn't have that dedication, and that goes with everything. Even when we'll get into health and fitness from the gym.
Yeah. I think most of the guys out here will be wanting to know sort of like fitness tips, how to get in shape, and obviously how we train and go to the gym and that sort of thing. But I think maybe what we'll do is, before we tell you guys what we do currently, give a bit of background in terms of like how our upbringing was to get us into the gym in the first place. So
Jamie was actually like a semi-pro soccer. This is what he told.
Who was better at it?
I like to say that. I
think he got to a high level, but I think I was probably better.
All right, so he's the soccer guy.
But yeah. And he used to like pick up girls like, hey, by the way, I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm kind of a pro.
No.
Ronaldo
I was very similar to you, and I actually have a crazy story about Ronaldo, which I think I've told you guys, which we could probably save to the end of this video. But basically, you could say I've got a story about how I was put into contact with Cristiano Ronaldo, which is true.
You guys actually dated for a bit. Eh? What was you?
In your head, you did.
No, but in all seriousness, I can tell this story at the very end. But before that, I think Bailey has something to say.
And now's the perfect time to let you guys know the sponsor of the video. As we know, we've got this beautiful apartment that we've been blessed to hold our podcast in, thanks to Getaways. It's actually storming and raining tonight, which is a bit of a different scene. That's why it's beautiful in Sydney. You got a bit of a range of weather. It's been pretty hot lately, but
still amazing.
Tonight we got a thunderstorm.
Still amazing.
And watching the lightning come across the bridge.
That was beautiful.
Is electrifying.
It's a very romantic moment that we've just shared together, and I'm sure you guys out there can share with your partner if you have one.
100%. Yeah. Again, we got the link in the bio. There's a bunch of apartments on there. Check them out. They're all as beautiful, if not better than this one. So
lightning outside, lightning in the bedroom.
That's it.
Exactly,
so shout out to getaways.com.au.
And thank you, Jamie, for that run up.
No worries. Anyway, back to my story. So yes, I will be telling you guys about how I was put into contact with Cristiano Ronaldo later in this podcast. However, before that happens...
Say Ronaldo one more time.
Ronaldo. Before that happens, Bailey, why don't you give us a bit of background in terms of your upbringing with sport and how that played a part in your ability to stay fit and healthy?
Yeah, quick rundown. So these guys, more on the soccer field.
They used to call him Bailey Thorpe.
I'm not a guy today. I don't identify as a guy today.
Shut up. And basically... so I sort of started more on the opposite. I was a water kid, always in the water.
Makes
Swimming
sense.
was my first sport. The obsession came out super early. Actually, to be fair, didn't have the experience like Chris, where it was sort of like obsession from the first go. I used to hate it at the start, but I'm actually very grateful that my parents sort of
Tasty pop number 1.
that my parents sort of pushed me through that breaking point, because I honestly hated it at the start because it was difficult. It was something I didn't really enjoy, but my parents were like, this is going to pay off in the long run, teaching me the lessons early in life of discipline and pushing through things you don't want to do. And I'm so grateful that they did. So yeah, I was sort of always that swimming guy in school, similar to Chris, where I won all the races, not to toot my own horn, but win everything, a few state records.
Was there anyone else in the races?
Nah, it was just
Did you come first and last?
Against myself. Yeah. Nah, that was kind of my main sport.
He was homeschooled?
Yeah. My school.
Yeah, it was just me.
Meaning my parents brought me up.
Yeah. Nah,
so I competed against myself.
Yeah, exactly. So I beat myself a lot, which was good. But yeah, it's kind of...
Yeah, that's what we're getting at.
You say I beat myself?
Beat
Well, that's
yourself
what we're
in
getting
what way?
at. Anyway,
Wait, so you did verse only yourself, or you versed
Nah,
other
nah.
people? What school did you go to?
what school did I go
Just
to?
for proof.
He's like, what school?
I went
Anyway,
to
what school
anyway,
did I
Disco's
go?
address.
Nah, anyway, yeah, obviously I competed against people, went zone, state, all these kind of levels where it was kind of, it's, I guess the common trait here is the obsession from an early age. If you, especially as a kid, if you're sort of determined and training at something, you're going to get progress against other kids. So that was my main sport, swimming, getting up at 4:30 in the morning before school to train for 2 hours, swim 5,
4:30,
6K.
wow.
That's early.
And then finish school, come home, swim another 2 hours some days. So you got
Did you have a
4
pool
hours of
at your house,
training.
like a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
lap pool at your house?
Not a lap pool, but just a
Far
round
out.
pool. But yeah, that was my sport. So yeah, anything swimming, and that was kind of my early exposure to the discipline side and sort of, yeah.
Didn't you
Doing
say you were
things
going to go to
your
the Olympics or something, or make the Australia team?
I wish. That was the plan.
Or is that your brother?
That's what he tells
No, that was the plan. No, my brother plays water polo for Australia. But
Oi.
mine was swimming. I wanted to go to the Olympics. That was the plan, but obviously, yeah, like
Still
a lot
not
of people,
too late.
you have
Still
a
not
dream.
too
and
late. Yeah.
It is not too late.
At
but
45
yeah,
years old.
I think it's long gone now.
Fair
But yeah,
enough.
that's kind of my backstory. Had a
Okay.
lot of success. Kind of just did a lot of things. Like always, made state nationals for running, athletics, swimming. Just dabbled in sports. Everything.
Did there come a point where you had to choose between like pursuing swimming and potentially going further with it towards Olympic stardom or whatever it is, or you said, okay, I have to think about uni, I think about my career?
Yeah, 100%. I think, to be honest, just the lure of friends partying, socializing, and just the grass is greener on the other side just kind of carried me away like a lot of other people.
Which is funny because you don't do that now.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of done the 360. Yeah, it was just sort of like you're thrown into exposure to all these parties and everything. You have to sacrifice a lot if you're going to go to the top, as you guys will know. You got to, and the guys that did actually make it, they sacrificed their whole teenage years, young, early 20s, didn't go out, no drinking, have to be, to make it at the top, to make it to the Olympics, you have to sacrifice pretty much everything. And I guess at that time I wasn't prepared to make those sacrifices. But I do not regret it. Any minute of training, getting up early mornings, even though I hated it, pushing yourself to way past your comfort zone, or getting, just pushing the limits in every area. And I think I'm so grateful that my parents sort of pushed me down that route, and I'll definitely do the same thing for my kids, because it sets like the character traits and the ability to realize where your actual true potential is from a very early age. And I think that carries, and it's sort of set the
everything you do.
foundations. Exactly.
Very
As
true,
you guys
very
would,
true.
would have experienced as well.
But I also think like everything, with God, everything happens for a reason. Because a lot of times I think to myself, and I think Jamie has too, and he'll probably talk about this, but like I'm like, shit, like I should have kept going with soccer. I shouldn't have got distracted. I could have become, something great. Why didn't I do that? And could that have been my path? But obviously it wasn't right for me. Obviously there's greater things waiting for me. And I remember, I think it was The Rock who said this, because he was he was an NFL player. His career was skyrocketing. He was going to do very well. I think he got injured and he couldn't play. And then he was like, I was like the guy. And then he was depressed. He went to shit. And now he's the number one highest paid actor in the world, I think, currently. So life can take turns, but I think if you believe in God and you have a good path and you stay, as you said, the same morals that you learnt through sport, dedication, commitment, working hard, something amazing will come out of it. And
100%.
I think Jamie's had similar experience.
Yeah. It's interesting how we all have like a very, high level, you could call it, sporting background, especially in our youth. I think for me, during primary school, I was like kind of just, doing the normal sport. I just got involved with things that were fun. So I was playing soccer, at a very low level. When we spoke about that division thing, I was at like the very bottom, like Division 8. And all I knew about was like kick the ball towards the goal. That's all I knew.
But
then
there's 2 goals.
I know there's 2 goals. Yeah, I kicked it into my own one sometimes.
Well, so how old were you at this point?
I was like,
last year.
That's actually as high as you got.
I started at 6 years old, and this would
Oh, right,
have been up to about 12. But then something happened when I was 12, and you guys may remember this, and the viewers probably will as well if you're from Australia.
At 12.
Yeah, I know. Thank God for that. But Australia qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 32 years. Remember the
that.
penalty shootout with Aloisi,
Aloisi.
Schwarzer, and basically like the whole country was ecstatic. And although I liked soccer before and I knew how to sort of kick the ball into whatever goal I felt like at the time, I never really understood the ethics or like the more technical side of the game. So when that happened, I I got so inspired. Like, I think the whole country did, but I took it to a whole level where from that moment onwards, I just got obsessed and I started practicing every single day for like, I'm not even exaggerating, but like 8 hours at a time.
You have to.
And I lived with my mum next to a big oval, and I would just be there all day, every day. So this was during the school holidays. So for the next 3 months or 2 months, whatever it was.
How old were you? Sorry.
I was 13.
13.
Yeah. And for the next 2 months, every single day, all I would do was go to the oval by myself and just practice. And I got really good in 3 months. I went from being able to juggle the ball 3 times to 300 in about 3 months.
Is that your record? What's your record?
My record now,
When
I was 16, was like
3,000 or something.
1,036.
Oh, not bad. Not
3,000.
Nah, not 3,000.
No, I used to.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, so Chris is actually better than you.
No.
We haven't
We're
played against
exactly
each other.
equal.
Yeah.
Just like everyone is in this world.
Yes.
So then, yeah, basically what happened after that was I was like, okay, let's go back to school. Let's try and make not like the C team, but let's try and make the A team. And yeah, I just from my like passion, consistency and effort for those, couple short months, I got literally from a C level player in school to then an A level player in school. And then during this time I started playing for school. And then as I was playing, I kept practicing by myself and going to training. And then I became the top goal scorer in my team as well. I would literally just get the ball from the back and just rip everyone and just score. It was nuts. I was like, I was still 13, 14. Division? This was for school now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For club.
Was your school good?
The school was actually quite good, yeah. You could say it was probably like equivalent to division.
Get the ball from the back to go to the front.
I'm just saying I learned the game very well in a short time, is what I'm trying to say. So I got very good in a short time from practice only. So I didn't just have a stroke of luck. Anyway, so then that escalated and I was like, oh, well, maybe like I can make something out of this. So then I remember I went to a club called Linfield. And Linfield were one of the high club levels, like equivalent to Wakehurst in the different what's it called? Competition, yeah. So I went there and I was doing really well at Linfield. And I go, well, why am I here? I should be like trying to get myself up to the higher levels, like the state league, because when you're 15 years old playing soccer and trying to make it as a pro, 15 is somewhat considered old if you haven't made it to like a pro level or at least a semi-pro. So I was almost like physically in a rush, but then mentally I was still growing as a player. And I think this next thing I did kind of ruined all the success I had had in the last year or two. And so what I decided to do was I decided to trial for a team called Rockdale City Suns when I was 14 years old.
Rockdale cuz.
And anyone that knows Rockdale was like, yeah, Rockdale cuz. So it was very weird coming from the North Shore of Sydney where I was around like a lot of Asian people, like Aussie people, then submerging myself into a very high level club, but surrounded by Macedonians and Middle Eastern people, which I weren't used to being around. And so when I got to the trial,
you got beached on.
I performed well. I performed well. But what I noticed was the coach would just target me and scream at me and blame everything on me. So then what happened was I got into this very, very negative mindset about the game. So I went from being a really good player in such a short time to then almost like jumping too quick mentally to the point where I wasn't ready for that sort of mental pressure of that high level. And then
a lot of politics in Australian soccer, club soccer is so much politics.
A lot of politics. And so, I kind of got benched a lot. Obviously I wasn't performing either, so I kind of deserved it. But the coach picking on me every training didn't help either. I remember I'd be in training and like everyone was sort of like not doing the drill properly. I was fourth in line, no one did it right, and he'd just target me. So it really genuinely, like, this is a good lesson for someone to learn. Like during that time, I believe I jumped a bit too quick. And I should have taken my time to develop as a player more, because you can be physically talented and skillfully talented, but mentally, if you're not there yet, you got to take time, especially when you're young. And so that was the downside of that.
Do you think you were buckling because of the pressure or because of your mind state, or you just kind of weren't up to scratch on the level you needed to be?
So technically I was up to the level, but pace-wise, the level was different. So fitness and pace I wasn't used to. Pressure-wise, where it wasn't just like, oh, your parents are around, you're going to get oranges at halftime and support you. And your dad's all like, that's my son, well done. To now screaming, swearing at you, if you don't do this, hurry up, run up the field. Your shit, like...
Because that's when I went into reps as well. And it's...
The opposition bagging you out. Oh, man.
You get the ball and everyone is screaming at you. Sorry to hijack your story. Like literally, like you're like, I get the ball, fucking pass it. Like
Bro.
fucking 5 people. You're like,
You don't
just get it off me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
even want the ball anymore because
I was scared of the ball, bro.
It does really fuck with you, the really high level.
Yeah, it does.
But I guess that makes
what
the
makes
difference
the
between
players.
people who can handle it.
It's
and
the make or break for
Big
sure.
game players
Yeah.
shine through, I guess, in those moments.
Because you see players that have so much skill, but they don't make it to the top. And there's a difference between, juggling a ball and doing tricks versus being in a game. Because a game requires so many aspects of like sport, fitness, mental strength, character, determination, everything. So I joined that team, and I'll be honest with you, like it was probably the worst decision I ever made in my career. And so then after that, I was still trying to make it, still practicing. I'd play well for school, but then go to my rep team and just be so under pressure that I couldn't perform anymore. And then I kept, I still was making the decent teams on that level in the state league. And then I ended up going to Serbia for trials as well. And it was funny. I was actually playing in a professional team. And the difference between playing in a professional team versus you could call it semi-professional team, which was the level that we were sort of at in our youth, is so different. What I noticed was in the professional league, depends on where you're playing, obviously, but in Serbia, the pace was much more calm and composed. Whereas in Australia, I find that it's all over the place. It's very physical, fitness-based. You get the ball at right back, you're pressed straight away. In Serbia, you have like all the time in the world. They're just relaxed. And I found it so much easier to play over there. I then I didn't make the team, unfortunately, but I went to England the next year to try and play for some academy teams and another semi-pro club. And it was the same thing as Australia, but times 100. So yeah, that's kind of a rough rundown. I was a good player, but the mental side just crumbled me to the point where I just quit. So
awesome. Well, so yeah, anyway, so obviously we've just talked about like our entry into fitness, through two different sports, me and Jamie through soccer, Bailey through swimming. And so basically that was, I guess, my whole life until I got a little bit older. I think it was year 11 where I started to get into the gym.
Bro, I remember seeing you like.
And
Wait, was he big before he got into
No.
the gym? Or?
No, actually,
So
you always was good build.
I was like skinny guy with abs.
You weren't skinny though. You were like.
I was bigger than the average person, but
Yeah,
I was just like lean with abs. Because all I did was run.
So
Like
the
I'd eat
base
everything,
frame,
and I just
but
like
that's it.
because of 7 days running.
I think the viewers really like are interested in like how you got this physique.
So basically,
I am.
it
Yeah,
was.
me
I already know though.
Me too.
So in Australia, we basically, well, at my school, how it works, and I've told you boy this story. How it works is we have our term finishes for the end of the year, December, and then we have like an 8-week holiday period through Christmas, New Year's. And so I think it was my last year. So it was my year 12. I was going from year 11 to year 12, which was my final year. And so in that holiday period of it, like eight weeks, I would go to the gym every single day. Because like, and mind you, like 10 years ago, gym wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
like it was not what it was. Like the Ziz generation was starting.
Oh,
But
that
like if
generation
it
was
was
a good
like
one.
if you know, you know. Like it was a small percentage of people who were like obsessed with gym and Ziz and this lifestyle.
No one
But
went to the gym though
It was
before
very
that.
niche. It was
Yeah.
very niche.
If you went 2 or 3 times a week, you were like the jacked guy in the group.
and you were
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was almost like you're weird. Like, bro, like why are you so obsessed with gym?
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
just
yeah.
wasn't a thing.
And
And
this was like 2010-ish, right?
2010, 2011. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened. I used to go to these fitness expos. I'd see these guys on stage, and I was obsessed. And my dream was eventually to be a fitness model, get into the fitness industry, and get into PT. Yeah. So to get more into personal training and fitness and that life. So anyway, back to my story. So in that 8 weeks, I went to the gym every day. I was obsessed. I trained. Everyone else was partying, going out, whatever they were doing. And I trained. And then I came back to the swimming carnival, which was in the first week of school.
My realm.
Yeah. So you were there fucking,
But he wasn't versing anyone.
Yeah, he
And
was
you were.
my pool, you know. And so, I was about to go swim, took my shirt off, and everyone saw that I was jacked. They're like,
How'd you do this?
They're like, how did you do this? I was
In
like,
8 weeks.
I was training every single day. You guys were all clubbing, going out, whatever. And so this was the first introduction to fitness. I finally had some muscles. Like people used to tell me, your body's never gonna get big. You'll never have good muscles. You never look good.
Really?
And I was like, that like motivated me. That like drove me to be like, you know what? Why am I is my body not going to be good enough? Like, why am I at a loss compared to other people? Why am I at a disadvantage? So I was obsessed. I stayed consistent with it, and I started to get results. So that was the beginning. And then I guess for the next 12 years till now, you know, Jamie's known me for a long time. Like, I have not stopped. I've had years of like
very consistent.
I've had years early on. Now I'm a bit more relaxed, but I've had years of early on where literally pretty much all year I'd eat chicken, broccoli, brown rice.
Really?
Like all year long. Like and I didn't give a fuck. Like I was like, I'm gonna be the best. And
so did you sacrifice like going out meals with friends and that kind of stuff, or you still trying to fit that in?
I did. I'd go to family weddings and not eat. I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't eat. I don't care if who's getting married, who's going what. I'd eat before and I'd go, and I wasn't even doing a comp. I just wanted to be the best. I wanted to get signed by a supplement company. I wanted to become a fitness model, and I said to myself, like, I had a lot of people doubt me. I remember I went to a fitness expo, and I got a photo with I think it was Chest Bra at the time.
Yeah.
I think I got a photo with Chest Bra, right? And the girl, when I was like,
I remember this
17,
story.
18, and I gone up. I'm so excited to take a photo with, you know, someone I look up to, and the girl in the line. I go, one day I'm gonna be up there, and she goes to me, "You'll never get there.
Really?
You'll never get there." And I shit you not, that fucking was ingrained in my head for like 10 years, and I fucking got there. I was on the stage. I had people lining up to take photos of me. Yeah. But it was such a surreal experience because I stayed consistent.
And this was 10 years later, right?
Bro, like literally, like it was insane. But to answer your question, like I stayed so consistent with it, and I see this with, because I'm a personal trainer now. So if I haven't said it before, guys, I'm a personal trainer now. And one thing I see, you know, and it's so cliche because everyone knows this. But what I see the success from my clients that do get the results, they do put on size or they do lose weight, as opposed to the others, it's the consistency. It's the people that look at the big picture. Everyone wants the magic pill. Everyone wants to get skinny tomorrow. They want to get jacked tomorrow. But realistically, doesn't matter if you're taking steroids or whatever else you're taking, you're not going to get that in a day. You're not going to get that in a week. But it's the clients that I've seen who have seen a consistent, that have stayed consistent, they have seen the results. I see young guys, you know, 17, 18, 19, who always come in, you know, they start the gym for 2 months. They don't see results. They stop. They go eating KFC and whatever else. They stop training. They go whatever. Then they start again. They do another 2 months. They don't see. It's a vicious cycle. Whereas a few stay consistent and will go, you know, before I saw any results, it was like 8 months to a year. Like I didn't see anything. But then like everyone goes, "You look so good. Like, you know, how'd you do it?" It's like, you weren't there fucking when I was putting in the hours over the years.
Like eating broccoli at weddings.
100%. Like, and so that is the main thing I can say is the consistency. You have to make a life decision that you're going to like commit to it. That is the difference between people who see success in fitness and improving their health and the people that don't. And that's what I've seen from myself and from my clients.
And just piggybacking off what you said, because obviously I've been your friend for like 10 years at least, maybe 15 now. And yeah, like the truth is, I think I sort of want to just touch on this before people start saying it themselves. But a lot of people, you know, say, "Oh, are you natural? Have you done steroids? Is that how you got so big, you know, quick?" Or whatever, you know, their accusations are. And I think, you know, it's just part of the space. People look at someone with good results and they envy them to the point of jealousy where they want to bring them down and assume all these things. But I've literally seen you go to the gym every single day. I've literally seen you diet super hard. I've seen you do everything it takes, cardio. Like I remember, like you'd be, you know, early morning before your clients, you'd be on the treadmill doing the incline every single morning. I've seen you on the bike at night. I remember you and I sometimes went to the gym at like midnight after we'd have to go out somewhere.
1 a.m., bro.
1 a.m. we've done sessions. And so I've seen like exactly how you've done it. So when people ask me, "Oh, bro, you know, Chris obviously like looks amazing. Like he's got the perfect body essentially. He must be on steroids." And I go, "Bro, firstly, I know the guy, my best mate. He hasn't, because I've been around him for that long. Plus I've traveled with you.
Yeah.
You haven't even like gone down in size when you've traveled.
Yeah.
I've gone through your stuff when you've been asleep and I haven't seen needles."
You've gone through my stuff.
So I can confirm that you have not done anything like that.
When people say that to me, they're like, "Are you on steroids?" I'm like, "You go train for 10 years or 12 years straight and see if you don't look incredible.
Exactly.
Stay consistent for 10 to 12 years, eating amazing, doing cardio every single day, working hard, and tell me you don't see results.
Exactly.
Sure, everyone's genetics are different. You know, we all have some advantages. We have some disadvantages. 100%. You know, I'm fortunate. I've got good ab genetics, you know, X, Y, Z. But if you put in 10 to 12 hours in anything, even a business, if you put it into anything, you will see results and great results.
I think what's also fascinating about your fitness journey is that you've come to a point after so long, 10 to 15 years of training and dieting, where now you have figured out how to do it sustainably, where you don't have to actually yo-yo diet. You don't have to count your calories necessarily. You still obviously train hard and monitor stuff, but you can do it in a way where you can still go out with your girlfriend, still treat her, go out with your friends, not have to live this life of restriction that, say, I live a lot of the time.
It's interesting, as we mentioned, me and Jamie have been friends for a long time, and separate to my experience in you know, honing in on fitness and getting a certain amount of success through my physique and whatnot, Jamie's actually, because of his work, he's actually had the experience of yo-yo dieting. He's tried different fads. He's had success, and he actually has had times where he did really struggle to put on muscle, to lose weight. And I think it'd be cool for you to unpack that, because I feel like a lot of boys young would have experienced at some point some of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that when I was growing up, I was sort of like a mesomorph, which means you're kind of like, there's ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but ectomorph is very skinny naturally.
They reckon ectomorph is the skinny one, the mesomorph is the more you know,
versatile,
muscly, will put on size more, and the ectomorph is the obese fat one.
Correct.
However, some people believe that they're not actually, it's not real. But anyway,
fair enough. I was kind of between, you could say, skinny, but also so not so-called genetically privileged in that way, but then privileged to the point where if I was to train and diet properly, my body responds in a blink of an eye.
But you've always had a big legs.
My legs have always been big. My legs have always been big for some reason. But my upper body, different story. So when I was 16 and I was playing soccer, it's around that time where you start getting inspired by the gym, right? Especially in our era with the Ziz era happening. And so I wanted to, you know, put on some size upper body, because I used to be very insecure when I was in high school of being too skinny. Always had the good legs, but upper body, like, girls don't care about your legs. They generally care about your upper body more because they see it more, right?
And the big legs make your
look smaller, correct. So that was my struggle.
So that was the issue the whole time.
It was trying to compensate for that, really. And I'm Asian.
So the legs were the issue the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much. But I got very insecure. So in primary school, I was normal size. Then when puberty hit.
What are we talking about? Like the insecurity for?
What was I insecure about?
Yeah.
So I'm getting there.
Oh, I thought, yeah.
Oh, no, we already went past that, yeah. Conversation's gone. So in
Keep up, brother.
yeah. In primary school, I was normal size. Then when I hit puberty, I got very skinny. So during like 13 years old till about, you could say 16, I was very insecure. This was the time I started, you know, speaking to girls and going to school dances and, you know, like having crushes and this sort of thing. And
did you have good riz at the start?
I had amazing riz.
Hey,
I was born with it.
No idea. He has amazing riz now.
So he developed it.
He had,
through discipline and determination and sacrifice.
Yes, I'd say in the last 6 years he's had phenomenal riz. Actually, 4 or 5 years. But I didn't know you at that age.
We didn't know each other.
Well, we knew each other, but I didn't.
You didn't know the power of my lankiness and how girls actually like that. They didn't really. So my point is, I had to, you know, kind of go through many years of insecurity from that. And, you know, it was always a struggle because, as you would know, Chris, when you're playing soccer, you can't really bulk properly because you're always like, you know, obviously doing cardio. So I knew what to do, even at that young age, like the advice was out there, but I could never stay consistent bulking because I'd have to go to soccer training and kind of just like counteract what my progress was. Even off seasons, I always wanted to get ahead of the game. So I was always like trying to still do cardio. So then basically, 16 years old, I started going to the gym. And yeah, the same thing happens. So from 16 to 21, I couldn't focus on it. So after I decided to quit soccer at 21 years old, or 20 years old, sorry, I was like, all right, I'm going to come back to Australia, make videos, and I'm just going to focus on the gym. And yeah, within about 8 weeks, I put on some really decent size. Like I'm talking like my body personally.
Is when you were like chubby?
Not really, no. I was pretty lean, like decent size.
What age was this?
This is 23. 2013, 14. We went to Europe in 2015.
Oh, you were shredded. You were lean.
Yeah, I was
that
back
photo
then.
with the boys.
Yeah. So I my body responded quick. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, but they might not have the discipline to actually do so. What I noticed about my body was that I had I'd been blessed with the progress, the speed of progress, but then also you could say cursed, because if I didn't keep it up and if I was inconsistent, I'd lose everything. So my body is still like that to this day. So I went through a lot of yo-yo dieting. I got, into great shape in, 3 months, and then I had to go somewhere overseas.
You'll always be traveling.
Work started picking up, my social media content career started picking up, and I couldn't focus on the gym because, as you know, both of you, when you travel, like you got to just maintain when you travel as best you can. But I was still
and your
trying
priorities
to.
were in other areas. I think, probably, I'm guessing at that point, your career and sort of developing that side of your business and travel were more of a priority than probably your physical appearance and stuff.
So I just had to kick a cookie away because it was flying everywhere. Correct,
You know what
yes.
I mean? It's about where your priorities are at. Whereas for Chris, when he was probably at his peak, that was his number one priority. Whereas I don't know if you, it might have been 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it was always like
It was high up.
It was definitely
It's
high
just
up.
I was successful. Nah, it was. I think it was high up for both.
It was
of
always
us.
high up.
Yeah,
We had other things going on in our lives, but a pivotal thing was for us to improve our aesthetic.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway I had with like so many years of yo-yo dieting amongst traveling, or even just being like stable as well for periods of time, was that I was always in the mindset that like, okay, I'm going to on Monday start this diet, this training. But then where I went wrong was I would do it for say 3 weeks, and I'd have one day where I missed out, say 30 grams of protein, and I'd think, oh no, my whole diet's ruined. Everything's done. I need to start over again. So then what happens is I go into this loop. I'm like, oh, well, now I've just messed everything up because I messed up once. Therefore, I'm just going to mess up for a few more weeks.
You're just going to enjoy it now.
And then,
That's the
2 months
worst.
later, I'm going to try again. So it was always the yo-yo.
But a lot of people have this mentality.
Correct. The second
Very
toxic yo-yo I had was that I always wanted to get bigger, but then when I'd get big, I'd get fat. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, now I'm too fat, so I want to shred. So you're caught in this constant loop.
Yeah, the dirty bulking.
Dirty bulk?
Not really, but you do put on some fat sometimes.
Of course. That's part of bulking. It's part of the process.
So within like 3 months, I'd, definitely put on some muscle, but with a bit of fat, and be like, oh no, I'm just going to go shred now because now I'm a bit too fat. Then you'd shred. 6 weeks later.
You couldn't cop the looking chubby for that period. You have to.
Exactly.
It's part of the process.
Exactly. And
If
then
you
I
truly want to bulk, you have to cop that
Yeah.
uglier stage in your own eyes of, I don't feel as confident. I look a bit chubbier. I don't like the way I look as much. And you've got to deal with that because it's part of the process.
Exactly. And you're going to have weeks and months where you don't feel the best, but your body's in you could say a transition phase from, A to B. And the same thing happened when I was cutting. So, I'd start cutting for 6 weeks, see results. Oh no, now this shirt is too baggy. I'm skinny. I got to bulk again. So always in this constant loop of like a yo-yo where I could never hit the target. Amongst this, as you said before, like I was traveling a lot. So it was almost impossible to maintain or even grow or get any results. And then, soon after that, back in 2018, as you touched upon, I got sponsored by EHP Labs. We were doing that at the same time pretty much. And I got this great opportunity to be coached by one of the biggest fitness athletes in Australia, Zach Perner. We did something called I think it was 8 to 12, was it 8 weeks or 12 weeks? 8 weeks, I think.
But you looked good after it.
8-week body transformation where he coached me through everything. So I dropped about, I think it was 10 kilos.
Bro, he did good with
in
you.
8 weeks.
He did really good with you.
And that's what I mean. So like my personal, genetics, I guess, I can get results fast, but I also sort of lose them fast. Since then, a couple more years of traveling, still in that yo-yo. But then since I think the biggest thing that I learned about achieving a desired physique is what you said, Bailey. It ties into so many other things than just wanting to look good. It ties into how the foundations of your life are set out and how everything works seamlessly on autopilot together. So what I find in my own life is that if my like fitness and health aren't in the right order, then everything else isn't either.
100%.
So I can sort of wake up, and I'll be honest with you, like the past 2 days, I haven't been waking up at my normal time, and I've had to go to the gym late and stuff like that. It's messed everything up. I'm not saying you can't bounce back from it, but I'm saying that like there is a foundational aspect to health and fitness. It's really important. And the biggest another takeaway that I'll just quickly mention as well is that when I stopped traveling,
I was just about to say, I think it was the beginning of this year or end of last year. It was the first time you told me, because every year was traveling. Like every year he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start fitness, this and that. Oh, I gotta go to Indonesia. I gotta go here. I gotta go here. Which I get it because it suits his business and there's money to be made and networks to be made. But it's the first time I remember you said I didn't care. Whatever business I have, I'm gonna make sure that I stay in Sydney. He goes, I'll go Melbourne if I have to every couple of months. But he goes, my base, because he didn't even have a base. He was living 6 months Melbourne, 6 months Sydney. It was very all over the place. He said to me, he goes, I'm gonna stay in Sydney. This is my base, and my health and fitness comes first. And as soon as he did that, and he got Matt to train him as well. I think.
Yeah. Shout out to my PT Matt as well. He's been amazing.
He got into the best, results, best physique of his life.
Yeah, and that's all it took, just being stable, having a more like stable life. I'm not saying if you have to travel, it's going to be like
end of the world
for you, but you do have to like work things around the clock or just to balance things out to make sure that you are able to be stable. And I think stability is a whole different conversation in itself. But I mean, health and fitness wise, I've been in Sydney for 2 years now, and that's why I've achieved the best results I've ever achieved in my life. So that's sort of my experience with the whole thing. I really want to touch on what I sort of left the viewers on a cliffhanger about our current regime for all of us. And I think, Chris, it would be great to start with you because I think that people look up to you. I see a lot of my personal, even followers, friends, they're like, bro, Chris has like the best body I've ever seen in my life. Desired physique for every man.
Not anymore.
But
you do,
but
bro.
you do, bro.
So
Let's be honest.
It's like the Greek.
And I think the viewers would really love to know, like, how do you do it now? Like, how have you been in amazing shape for like 10 to 15 years? How do you do it without having to ruin your life and happiness?
So, as I mentioned early on, I had to do a lot of sacrificing. I'd have to always eat the right foods. I'd always be very all over. Like, I'd be on top of everything. Everything that came into my mouth, I'd know what I was eating. I wouldn't enjoy. Like I would literally be depressed in the sense of like everyone would be out. Like I'd see my friends eating the burgers and stuff, and I want to smell it. Like I just want to eat it. Like I'd never eat bread. I wouldn't eat very much rice. I'd stay away from carbs. It was just like meats, chicken, vegetables, like boring. And I knew I could do it because I didn't give a fuck. Like I was like, I need to get my results were my number one. But to answer your question, what I do now and what I've done in the last, I guess, couple years, which a lot of people know me for, is I do a lot of cardio. Now, diet is number one. If you want a great physique, we all three of us know, and it's cliche, abs are made in the kitchen, but it's true. Like you're not gonna get abs unless you're very skinny. You're not gonna get abs unless you, work on your nutrition and make some nutritional changes and get yourself into a calorie deficit, right? So for me, that I knew that my family's loves to eat out. We always, I go out, and you guys know this, I go out to eat maybe 3-4 times a week.
That's crazy.
That's dinners, that's sometimes for lunch, we're always eating out. We just love to go to nice restaurants. I like to indulge, which obviously puts on a stress onto how my physique can be. Now, you guys won't admit this, but for myself, I think in the last 6 months has probably been the worst I've personally looked. I'm not saying I look bad. Like I know a lot of people
definitely not.
That's bad, bro. No. Like I know a lot of people be like, wow, like
your bad is my 10 out of 10.
Achieve, but for my level,
I get it.
Like the last 10 years of being like thick skin, like I don't know how many % body fat.
Because you can always tell about yourself, but no
more
one
than
else.
Other people.
Exactly.
Like Jamie be like, bro, you look the exact same. And I'll be like,
I dropped 5 kilos.
No, like I've had a bend, like, I've been eating shit and drinking all weekend and this and that and whatever. Yeah. But my point is, so what I've done to counterbalance that is adding cardio. Now, the amount of cardio I do, I'm not saying I recommend for anyone else because it's excessive. But I just know my priorities, I want to eat good food. I want to enjoy myself. If my girlfriend says to me, I want to eat dessert, I don't want to say to her no. All these experiences I can have in my life that are, amazing experiences. When we grow up and look back, we're going to remember the dates we went on, the cute times we had. When my parents, if they want to take me to a nice dinner and I'm going to eat chicken and broccoli just to be a little bit leaner, but that experience I can get with, spending quality time with my parents. You don't know how long you have these people in your life for at the end of the day. So I know that's not what we're talking about, but that was my priority, to still enjoy my life because realistically, I'm not doing a comp. I've grown up to the point now that I've done my fitness modeling. I've done a lot of that stuff. Now I'm a bit more relaxed. My body doesn't need to be very, very excessively lean. I still want to look good. So I do a lot of cardio. So every day or at least 5 days out of the week, I'll make sure I do at least an hour and a half, sometimes 3 hours of bike. Or
5 days a week.
I used to do treadmill every day. I used to do an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then because I started getting knee pains and shin splints,
But you'd also go to the gym on top of that.
I'd also go to the gym.
So you're doing 5 days a week,
I do
cardio
like
for an hour and a
3
half, plus an hour of the
like
gym.
3 to 4 hours of gym a day.
Wow.
Now that's what I'm saying. I'm not recommending.
there you go.
this. I'm not recommending this.
So that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It is now to add to it. It is convenient that I work in a gym. So the motivation factor of the fact that I'm already in the gym is a
true.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's your
a lot of
environment.
people,
Your environment,
like a lot of people, they like, fuck, you know, I'm just gonna go do my weights. I'll do half an hour and I'll go home, whatever. I'm at the gym.
You're stuck in the gym.
I'm at the gym. I have to wait for clients. So while I'm waiting for my clients, I might as well go do cardio.
And you and I've noticed as well what you do is you don't just do cardio and listen to music. You actually do something productive while you're doing it.
I used to do that a lot more. So now I go TikTok live.
That's career related.
I used to, yeah, it is career related.
So it's still productive, yeah.
I used to every time I would listen to a podcast or I would watch a video on something that I was trying to learn about or an audiobook. I will admit in the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, Netflix. I've been watching Netflix because realistically, for someone like who's doing cardio this consistently,
Reward yourself.
for two, and this is a tip for you guys, right? This is I've told people this and they love this idea. So basically, people say to me, "How do you do cardio for that many hours? You know, how do you consistently do it without getting bored?" And this is what I tell you: I say, find a show on Netflix, Stan, whatever one of those 100 things there are now, streaming services. Find a show that you love, that you're obsessed with, and only watch it when you're doing cardio. And as Jamie just said, it's almost like you're rewarding yourself. So, I'll watch an episode and there's always a cliffhanger. There's always something. And I won't get to watch it unless I'm doing cardio. So I can't wait to do cardio. The
so
next
good.
day I'm like feeding.
So you only
cardio.
let yourself watch it while you're doing the cardio.
I don't watch it unless
smart.
I'm doing cardio. And when I'm doing my cardio, it goes so fast because I'm so into the show. My legs are just fucking spinning. I'm just spinning, and I realize as an episode's 45 to an hour. I've just done an hour. And then I want to see the next episode, so I do another hour. And then I'm done for the day. I'm done for the day. And the whole night I'm thinking, what the hell happens? Did the guy die? Did she sleep with him? What happened? And I need to know. So I watch the next episode the next day, and I'm literally looking forward to cardio subconsciously. Wow. So this is a little hack for you guys. If you're trying to figure out how to do cardio without getting bored, that's what I'll do. Look, preferably, things that are positive towards your life. But if nothing else, just put a show on that you really enjoy, and I honestly think that you enjoy cardio a lot more.
Yeah, I like that.
So to answer your question, I've implemented a lot of cardio to counteract the amount of food and things I've been consuming.
Is cardio universally beneficial? So with all the body types, if you're naturally, you're trying to, I don't know, put on a bit more muscle, you've got to the point where your physique is at a certain point, so I don't know if it's like maintenance and stuff. Would you recommend cardio for everyone, or is it kind of different depending on what your goals are and stuff? Because I'm just curious.
Good question.
Generally speaking, I'd recommend excessive cardio for someone who is trying to stay lean.
Right.
If you are naturally lean and you're trying to put on muscle, I would say I'd reduce the cardio. I'd have little bits, like I'd have half an hour every second day, something like that, just to keep you lean, just to keep the heart rate up. Good endorphins, good for the mind. So cardio is not just an aesthetic goal. I actually think if anything, especially walking, if we're talking about just walking,
steps are so good.
Steps
Amazing.
actually, like when someone goes for an hour long walk, the calories that you've burned aren't very high, but the impact it does on stress relief, health for the mind, it gets you thinking. When you go for a walk, you have amazing thoughts. I don't know if you guys remember this, but
I always do that.
I always have amazing thoughts that come to my mind, whether it's through business, family, whatever it is. I have amazing thoughts. I feel amazing after. I feel accomplished. Now, I don't really look at too much of the calories I burnt for that because I know it had other benefits. So that's walking. But if I'm doing excessive cardio, it's only because I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to get leaner. For someone putting on size, obviously they're trying to be in a calorie surplus. Yeah. So they don't want to do too much cardio because it's going to counteract the amount of food they're eating. So I'd say predominantly for someone who's trying to lose weight, yes, cardio is a great thing to add to your regime.
Yep.
Obviously, when your nutrition has to be on point, because you can like when I say I eat a lot, I still eat high protein foods. I'm careful on my carbs. Yes, I indulge here and there, but I'm still overall, I still know what I'm doing. I'm not saying you can go eat Maccas every single day and just do a bit of cardio and you're going to be sweet. That's not going to get you to the dream physique you want. Yes, you can do cardio and you can stay lean, but I would say still number one is your nutrition, calories in, calories out. Keep your calorie. If you're trying to put on size, you want to have a calorie surplus. If you're trying to lose weight, calorie deficit. That is like the key to everything. Other than that, if you have that down, then you'll definitely see results.
Then we'll look like you.
Let's hope. I've been praying for the last 15 years. It hasn't happened yet.
I mean, I think don't compare yourselves.
Yeah.
I know you're joking, but in general, guys, don't compare yourselves to anyone. Try to be the best you can be, and that's genuine. No one can be a better you than you. Jamie also mentioned and touched on, like, if your health and fitness is at peak and it's a priority, every other aspect of your life will be successful, and it will carry over into every other aspect. So, simply put, business. When your health, like you see the CEOs of like top companies. I'm not saying every single company, but a lot of them prioritize fitness. They all go for like, if they wake up at 6, or 4 or whatever it is, they'll go to the gym, work out, then they'll go run their company. It's so important because they got a healthy body, healthy mind. And for them to be at peak performance for everything they do, to be at that top level, they have to be healthy. They have to have that other discipline with their fitness and their health and their nutrition, which will carry over into everything else. And you see that a lot.
Yeah. And I think just to kind of tie it back into faith, what you touched upon, Bailey, I think, there's a lot of people out there that I see, including myself, that you feel like you haven't been blessed with the right genetics. You feel like you haven't been blessed with, say, the guy that you're mates with the abs, or the girl that you go to, work with. Exactly, I'm pointing at you. With the good physique, or, the booty, or all these things.
The blonde hair.
Correct. But people, and this kind of like transcends into other areas of life, but people tend to forget that your testimony is actually your power. So if everyone was born with the same genetic imprint, the same, genetics, like, for example, I know you worked hard for it, but say Chris, looked like Chris, then people that couldn't relate wouldn't have that inspiration to actually strive to achieve something. So the fact that we're all unique in our own ways, for me, I struggle with being skinny for a lot of my life, and I'm still working on it. Someone else might have struggled being overweight. The fact that you have the ability, and God's blessed us with this life, to use what we have in the best way possible to, get to the other side and then inspire people that are potentially going through the same thing, is a blessing in itself. And I think that's a great way to end. If you guys want to check us out on any of our streaming platforms or visual platforms, we are the Locker Room Chat on YouTube. We have clips posted on TikTok, Spotify if you're listening on audio only, and other platforms, Apple Music, everything linked in the description.
Don't forget the IG, brother.
Yeah,
and we will soon be also posting some behind the scenes. So
correct,
yes.
on Patreon. So
yes,
that's coming out.
Stay tuned for that.